Hi everyone. So today we want to talk not so much about religion as politics. Well, we'll actually link the two. And those are like the forbidden topics, religion and politics. But I want to really talk about what I think is one of the most worrying features of the world today, specifically in the Western world today, and that is the religification of politics. I don't even know if that's a good word or real word, but we'll run with it. What I mean by that is the extent to which I would argue that today the two biggest religions in America are the Republicanism and Democratism. The political right, the conservative versus the political left, the liberal. And what I mean by religion is what humans do in the search for religion is they're looking for a sense of meaning in life, by a sense of how society should be, a sense of a moral code of right and wrong, and a sense of the tribe to belong to that helps define for us who are the good people, who are the bad people, what are the good ideas, what are the bad ideas. And the positive of that impulse is, of course, the sense of belonging, giving for something greater than ourselves. The negative is when it starts to label the other as terrible, evil, and so on. In America, I think we're pretty close to that. In England, by the way, we're not really there. I mean, yeah, a little bit the Corbyn universe had its kind of religiosity to it. But most politics in Europe is like a bit more tax, a bit less tax, whatever, a bit more spending on this or that or the other. It's not that deeply tribal. In America, it is. And I've spent quite a lot of summers in America and in Washington, D.C. in particular, and spent quite a lot of time speaking to people. And here's where you really watch the danger of the religiosity. Here's where it's really, really potentially very worrying. I've now done this little experiment, where I will sometimes ask people who are Republicans or who are Democrats if they can name 3 good things about, pick a relatively recent, let's say Barack Obama, or if they're Republican, Trump, Bush before him if they're Democrat. So a woman who was a Republican said to me, yeah, sure I can. So I said, okay, so good, so name us the 3 with Barack Obama. She goes, yeah, sure. She goes, he was a great family man, okay. And he was a great role model to lots of people, and starts talking about all her views on the problems of the African-American community and how great a role model he was. And then she got stopped. She forgot the 3rd thing. I could do the same the other way around, by the way. You could talk about policies, Can you name 3 good policies that have been suggested in recent years by the other side? 3 good ideas on the other side, 1 good idea on the other side. And that's when you know you're dealing with something very, very dangerous. You see, the way the human works, and here I'm going to now, an idea that's driven me a lot from Jewish sources is that the whole sin of man in the Garden of Eden, as Maimonides explains it, is the move into such deep subjectivity, so self-centered, so seeing the world through our eyes. That's how the serpent describes it to Adam. You'll be like a god, you'll see the world through your eyes. Seeing the world through our eyes means effectively this. Being a god means that when I like something, when it feels good to me, when it makes me feel good, it becomes good. When it makes me feel bad, it becomes bad. So a person who makes me feel good is a good person who could do no wrong. A person who makes me feel bad or threatens me in any way becomes a bad person. They can do no right. I'll give an example, like if you really don't like somebody. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but if you have, you might notice your brain becoming an amazing prosecution lawyer. Suddenly everything they do becomes horrible or bad, right? So someone will say, they gave charity. Brain, they're just trying to look good. They were nice to me. They're just trying to suck up to you. And everything they do becomes evil, right? You see this in conflicts, right? Look at the conflict between Israel, the Arab-Israel conflict, the Palestinian-Israel conflict, and you see once people are partisan, everything the other side does is evil. There's no possible argument, no way any reasonable person could hear anything in that side. You see that with conflict all over. You look at American politics, it's like this. Already for several years, long before the whole this year cheating the election thing blew up all over the place. I remember going to Washington, and it was amazing. You could sit with the Republicans, who, let's say on ID laws and so on, and they really genuinely believed this. At least everyone I met seemed to be really, really genuine, that they really felt that we got to tighten up on these laws because it's so open, anybody can cheat, and they were convinced there's probably cheating on the other side. And the more Democrats would oppose it, the more they'd be thinking, that means they only want to oppose it because they want to steal elections and cheat and lie and so on. Then you go to Democrats who really genuinely and sincerely felt we have to liberalize the laws because these tightened up laws don't work for a lot of people, especially in the African American community, might not have the same ID and these various things, and we have to get them to be able to vote too. And the only reason Republicans could possibly is because they really want to suppress racial voting. And each side, you'd speak to them, were really genuine. It was so painful to watch this as an outsider, because like, you're really genuine, you probably got a really good point. You're really genuine, probably got a really good point. I'm sure in a world where you could trust that the other side has a good point, you could sit around the table and go, okay, how can we tighten up laws so that there's minimal possibility of cheating, but maximal possibility of voting? Look, I'm an outsider. I don't even know how a lot of these laws work in America, but surely there's ways of maybe, I don't know, mass giving out ID cards with, or whatever it is for the election, and then forcing people to come in with them or something. Who knows? I don't know. Great minds there. There's a lot of brilliant people, they could work it out. But it starts with such distrust. And obviously it got a lot worse with the whole Trump accusing everybody of cheating and so on. But it started with such a crazy level of distrust that there's almost an unwillingness to believe that the other side could be genuinely motivated by good. And reality, of course, everybody's got lots of motives. Of course, probably some in the back of mind of lots of Republicans is, it wouldn't be that bad if less people turned up. But the back of mind of Democrats is, it's not a disaster if a few people cheat on their side, But that's not necessarily their driving motive. And I'll give another example. You had the Kavanaugh hearing. So I remember, whoa, the whole of America was ripped to pieces on this. And again, simple social experiment by me. This wasn't a scientific experiment. You could walk in somebody, and if you knew their view on abortion, you knew whether they thought Kavanaugh was guilty or not. And that's ridiculous. What's one got to do with the other? Why can't I be, pro-choice or pro-life and then look at this scenario? Because I can't. You know why? Because if I'm pro-choice, this guy's a real threat. He's upsetting me, and it's my tribe. My tribe is the pro-choice tribe. We are the morally right people. They are the morally evil people. He comes from the morally evil people coming to destroy us all. He is evil. Someone's accused him of rape. It must be true. She's on our side. He's on their side. She's good. He's bad. On the other side, pro-life. Pro-life is good. We're the morally good people. There are evil people over there. He's on our team. He might save us. He might liberate us. He must be good man. She's accusing him. She's on their team. She must be evil woman. And this is how it's like so primitive and so tribal and so painful. I tell you what, it's quite good though, because you can always use it as an example, at least for people not in America, to talk about all sorts of conflicts and internal politics and organizational politics and communal politics and family politics and conflicts where you see all humans are motivated by good and bad. And all humans have this incredible equipment inside us to value people as good or bad. And when they're good and we're committed to them being good, we will look for all the evidence of them being good and downplay any evidence the other way. That could be for an individual that we like. It can be for a cause that we like. It can be for a sports team that we like. Have you ever seen this, like some sports players on the opposing team? They're rubbish. They just cheat. They're terrible. And now they're signed up by your team. They are amazing. They are brilliant. They're unbelievable. You see, that's our prosecution and defense lawyers flying all over the place, accumulating evidence in each side. And when we see that, so our work in life, a huge part is learning to see perspectives that are not our own. Learning to see what does the world look like through their eyes. If we can't name 3 good things about the political party we don't vote for, then we have probably become locked in a tribal place of radical dishonesty and disconnect from reality. What we see is not half a picture, it's fiction. As long as we know that, that's fine. Go around with our fiction, waving our placards, getting all fired up about our team, our local sports team, and our tribal political party, and wherever it is. We're good, they're bad type of primitive thinking. But if we want to mature and we want to get a world to society that heals and works together, we need to train ourselves and train others from a very young and old age to just walk into their perspective. Yes, they're motivated by bad, but they're motivated by a lot of good. Very few of them ever wake up in the morning saying, we want to be evil people. And just like we hope they'll do with us too, right? That's what we've got to do. Now, some people may not be so bothered about this. Okay, the cause is so good. Let me give up that ability to hear the other side. It's worth it, or the self-reinforcing. Who cares if I can't have a dialogue? The cause is so critical. In Jewish teachings, there's a great story in the Talmud of a rabbi who had a study partner who died, and they brought him a student who was one of the top academy students, and every time the rabbi opened their mouth, the student would bring proofs that they were right, and the rabbi just ended up crying. He said, I don't need to know I am right. I want that other student who died because he used to show me where I'm wrong. And I'd argue, and maybe my position would become refined, but he would show me what I can't see. We're humans. we're finite, we're limited. The chances are when we get to certainly on finite, fallible things like which political party to support and which social causes to fight for and so on, we're finite and we're fallible, and there's going to be lots and lots of perspectives. And we lose something when we're cut off from the ability to step outside of our own shoes, because ultimately we're incomplete and our perspectives are incomplete, and they're only enriched when we hear those perspectives that contradict them. It doesn't mean we'll end up agreeing, but it does mean that we can start to talk together with a common language in a way that bonds and unifies. Or if we feel ourselves as broken pieces of some meta soul of humanity, it's when we can only see ourselves, so we're keeping the little broken pieces together. It's when we can start to see them too that we can start to put the puzzle together. Again, we may still agree with what we started with, but the way we'll discuss it, the way we'll put the value forth, it's often not even going to be a contradiction to have the things we value and the things they value, and seeing how we can merge and harmonize them together. With the other side, we become greater people too.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please click on the like and subscribe and hit the notification button below. Thanks so much.